were so fucking bad! Sorry, just a little slip up. Anyways, hello. In today's video, we are heading out to BNSF's busy Needles subdivision, which, for those who don't know, goes from Barstow, California to Needles, California. So, there's your little information about the Needles sub. Anyways, me and my grandpa decided to get up at the crack-ass of dawn and get to Newberry Springs, which was our first spot of the day. As soon as we got to Newberry Springs, which was around like 7:20 a.m. or something like that, I didn't even have time to set up before we saw our first train, which was a westbound BNSF Z train, I think. This having BNSF 6676 leading. After finally having a chance to set up, we would see our next train not even 2 minutes later, which was an eastbound port stack and ethanol train basically hooked up together. It was quite weird. This having BNSF 6165 leading with a pretty weird K5HL. It would be about an hour before we saw our next train, which was a port stack / bear table. This had BNSF 5683 leading, heading west. Not too long later, another westbound train came, this time being a westbound manifest, having BNSF 4333 leading. Our next train would be yet again another westbound, this time being a Q train with BNSF 6535 leading. This also had a Fakebonnet 4 valve. 5 minutes later, we'd finally get an eastbound freight train, this time being an eastbound Z train going quite fast with BNSF 6000 leading. Our next train would be a westbound Q train going about the same speed as the last train with BNSF 7183 leading. After that, I decided to head down to the Manila Road Railroad crossing, just outside of Daggett. Our first train there would be a westbound port stack / bear table, this having BNSF 7098 leading. Our next train would be an eastbound Z train with BNSF 6976 leading, doing full speed ahead. Like, holy crap, this thing was hauling. Our final train at the crossing would be an eastbound manifest coming out of Barstow, this having BNSF 8007 leading. After that, I decided to head down to a river crossing in Daggett, which ended up being this one, for those curious. As we were leaving our spot, we got jump scared by a westbound Z train. or Q train, I don't really know. This had BNSF 7581 leading, and we ended up pacing this train all the way to Daggett. As we were approaching downtown Daggett, I saw the LOY 30 with an SD70M Duo. As soon as we set up, LOY 30 rushed through, this having UP 5029 leading. Unfortunately, the video ended up blurry, so that kinda pissed me off. I decided to stay for one more train before moving spots. The last train we'd see here would be an eastbound Q train with BNSF 7817 leading. As we were heading down to our next spot, I decided to make a pit stop at the Hidden Springs Road railroad crossing, because I saw a train passing the Barstow rail cam, so why not? This train ended up being an eastbound port stack intermodal, and this thing was fucking huge. Like, this thing took 3 minutes to pass while doing 60 to 70 miles an hour. This ended up having BNSF 4456 leading. Oh yeah, and before anyone asks, yes, I saw that other intermodal that I paced. Our final spot on the Needle sub would be the Route 66 railroad crossing in Pisgah. The first two trains we would see at Pisgah would actually meet, the first one being an eastbound Z train with BNSF 7935 leading. The second second train we would see would be a westbound port stack with BNSF 3987 leading. This also had a Norfolk Southern SD70 Ace furred out in the mid-DPU section. Our next train would be a westbound Q train, which had quite an interesting consist. Take a look. Since this is the first time I've seen a Fakebonnet leading since 2024, I decided to give in chase. It didn't take long before we caught up because it stopped at a red signal. As I was taking pictures, an eastbound grain train rolled on through. This had BNSF 968 leading, which marks the first time I've ever seen an H1 leader, so pretty cool. Since most H1-9s have a really nice K3LA, me and my grandpa decided to haul ass back to the crossing to get a horn sample of BNSF 968. And luckily we caught up to the crossing just in time. Now back to the Fakebonnet, it decided to start moving once we left. And we couldn't really catch up to this thing till about Daggett. So, there goes my plans of catching this thing at Newberry Springs. While on Interstate 40, I ended up seeing the first westbound train we saw at Pisgah. I decided to make a pit stop at Barstow Yard to see what they had for power. I ended up catching a lot of things, including a Santa Fe Bluebonnet SD40-2, 2 Executive SD70 Max, a Montana Railink SD70 Ace, a Ferromax SD70 Ace, and a port stack intermodal. Now I decided to try to catch the Fakebonnet duo at Helendale, but unfortunately we had to go because we wanted to beat Cajon past traffic. But I ended up catching a few trains here. The first 2 trains we'd see would actually meet here. The first one being a westbound Union Pacific Coke train, this having UP 2659 leading. The second train would be an eastbound BNSF Z train. Unfortunately, I don't know the leader because it was blocked. Our next train would be an eastbound BNSF manifest heading to Barstow, this having BNSF 8509 leading. Our final two trains at Hellendale would actually meet, the first one being an eastbound BNSF Q train with BNSF 6539 leading. The second train would come not too long later, this being a westbound BNSF Q train with BNSF 6054 leading with a really weak K5HL. After that, me and my grandpa decided to head down to Cajon Pass to try one more time to catch the Fakebonnet duo. Now luckily, I was able to catch the Fakebonnet duo, but first there was a Union Pacific Coke train in the way. No need to introduce this guy, we already saw him in Hellendale. About 30 minutes later, the westbound Q train with the Fakebonnet duo passed through. Now, since there was a lot less traffic than usual, me and my grandpa decided to head down to the San Bernardino Depot to catch Amtrak Southwest Chief number 4, because it ended up having a Surfliner cab car at the back, so why not? Not too long after arriving, Amtrak Southwest Chief number 4 to Chicago arrived with P42DC 205 leading. 2 minutes later, it then departed to its next stop of Victorville, California. After getting the pictures I want of cab car 6901, I decided to call it a day. So if you excuse me, I'm going to go sleep because I was up for 21 hours that day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.